All right, everyone, welcome to episode one of Heavy to Hungry podcast. I'm your host, Selly, and I'm here with.
Hi, my name is Carlos Gonzalez. I have lost 155 pounds and kind of went into a little bit of the bodybuilding scene, but we'll talk about it a little bit in the future. But I'll hand it back to Sully.
So, I also lost around 130 pounds. We both grew up super overweight and got in shape, and now we coach others to do the same. So, we decided to start up this podcast just to provide some extra value for some people who are interested in free advice and how to start their fitness journey for free. If you can't afford a coach yet, or if you're thinking about coaching and want to get to know us a little more, this is for you. So briefly, we just wanted to go over our stories and how we got to where we are, why we're doing what we do, and what the future is going to look like for us. So I guess I'll start. So obviously, my name's Selly, or Selly Hypertrophy. I grew up super overweight up until I was about 18 years old. I was around 320 pounds. I had dislocated my kneecap playing football, so I stopped moving and I was just eating, and I had an extreme food addiction. And I got to college. I'm just making this really quick. Got to college and decided to make a change. Basically, got my heart broken by some girl that I don't talk to anymore, but I thank her every day because if she hadn't completely shattered my heart in half, I wouldn't have gone through this journey. So my roommate got me in the gym, and then from there it was history. That was kind of the trigger, and I went on a super extreme weight loss diet, and I didn't necessarily do it the right way, but I lost over 100 pounds, got pretty skinny, but I was just really happy that the weight came off. Fast forward 4 or 5 years later, I jumped on the bodybuilding stage for the first time, and now I'm muscular, lean, kept the weight off, and I'm not miserable, and now I help others do the same. So let's hear about Carlos's story.
So my story is almost similar to Sully's. So the unique thing about mine is all of mine was documented on social media. That's kind of one of my biggest things. Is like the whole weight loss since I started being fat. I recorded everything on my Instagram. So it's Carlitos Lifts, but I've lost 155 pounds, and it was kind of the same situation. I was in a really low part of my life. By the time I was like 15, I was 300 pounds, and so I was dating a girl, and she broke my heart, and then next thing you know, I got super depressed, and instead of just like releasing that all on myself and wanting to hurt myself, I ended up just going to the gym and like I remember saying that if I really want to hurt myself, let me go do a leg day and actually hurt myself. So I did, and then from there it just continued until I met a buddy of mine. His name was Jake. He goes by Jake Fitness on TikTok, and he was competing in a bodybuilding show. Summer Shred, and I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, that's interesting. Like, so I was like, hey, it'd be crazy if I kind of just like drove out there and watched the show. And he was like, it would. And so I ended up doing it, going to go watch that transformation show, and then was like invested. I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. And so I locked in for an entire year, and then from there, I got on stage at 195.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I just wanted to say for a moment, dude, there's no better motivation than heartbreak. As much as heartbreak sucks, there's literally like when you go in the gym after you get your heart broken, like you push 5 extra reps every set. You just push so hard, and it just keeps you so motivated. But one thing I did want to touch on is that motivation does fade eventually, and you're going to have to rely a little bit more on discipline, but not only discipline. Like you hear the guys talking all the time, just do the work, just get it done. Yeah, of course, but for me it's all about setting up systems that help you stay and stick to your fitness goals without being miserable all the time. So we're going to go over some of those systems that Carlos and I both incorporate into our own journeys and with our clients. So Carlos, I want to talk about volume eating a little bit. Could you tell the people what volume eating means to you?
So a lot of times when people think of, I'm just like when they think of weight loss in general, everyone talks about calories, but no one really understands calories. Calories is just the unit of energy that we calculate to kind of record what we're eating. And so a lot of times people relate calories to eat less. And in reality, it does mean that. A majority of times, if you're smart with your food, it doesn't mean eat less. It actually means eat more. And so that's why we go into volume eating. Volume eating is pretty much eating a bunch of low calorie stuff for the equivalent of something, uh, like, for example, a Big Mac or something. Like, have you ever seen those little scales where it's like, oh, here's 400 calories worth of strawberries, and then here's 400 calories worth of donuts, and it's like, oh, there's so much more strawberries, and that's volume eating because it's a representation comparing like after you eat those donuts, you'd probably be hungry and want to continue eating. Compared to if you were to eat these strawberries, it's going to take you forever to eat these strawberries.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, completely agree. Volume eating, essentially, just to break it down a little further, is the concept, very simply, it's a concept of eating a lot of volume for the same amount of calories of what you would normally eat. So, kind of like Carlos was saying, like another example would be instead of getting a Big Mac, like he said, which is going to be like 800 to 1,000 calories, not very filling because it's high in fat. Fat is very calorie dense. You make your own Big Mac at home with just different ingredients. You get the same volume of food. You eat the same amount of total substance, but the at-home Big Mac with better ingredients is going to fill you up more. It's going to supply a lot more protein, a lot more fiber. It's going to be healthier in general, and it's going to make it so you can eat Big Macs every day. You just got to make it yourself. Right. Another thing I want to touch on when it came to volume eating is protein pairing. That's another really great tool you could use on your fitness journey, especially if you're someone who doesn't like to be super strict. Like I have some clients who are totally fine just eating chicken, rice, broccoli, and they can stick to that for a while. But most of my clients, I would say, can't do that. So protein pairing is basically the concept of pairing your favorite desserts or your favorite snacks with something protein related. So, for example, if you wanted to go get a crumble cookie, obviously option one would be to not get the crumble cookie and find a different option, like, I don't know, Greek yogurt and berries with some honey or something like that. But if you're like, if I don't get this crumble cookie right now, I'm going to binge tonight, then go ahead and honor those cravings and get the crumble cookie, get one, eat half of it, and instead of eating the other half, pair it with a high protein shake or a high protein bar. So this way, you get to eat your crumble cookie without having a protein replacement, but then also getting your protein in and filling you up. So do you have any other protein pairing or volume eating options that you do or you give your clients?
See, when it comes to that kind of stuff, a majority of time, the first thing I would say is if okay, so I would ask, are they going to Crumble Cookie for like a special occasion? And it's like if they don't, and they're just wanting something sweet, then I'm just like, okay, we can have the Crumble Cookie, explaining everything like, but also Crumble now has the mini cookies, so sometimes those are okay. But I would always go like, I would give them options. I'd be like, hey, do you want to do this, or do you want to have like a packet of like the packet of mini cookies, like the Oreos or whatever, like a whole snack size, one of those. Would you rather have one of those with a protein shake? So I could see the protein pairing when it comes to that, and a lot of times I see that most of the times the protein pairings only kind of work with like desserts for sweet tooth kind of things. And so I think I think it's a great thing to add, but it's also kind of it shouldn't be an excuse. Like it shouldn't be like, hey, I'm gonna eat a crumble cookie as long as I eat it with a protein shake, it'll be fine. You also gotta understand like calories and everything, because like I always tell people that calories don't work on a daily basis; they almost work like on a weekly basis, and that's why a lot of times you'll hear people like talk about yo-yo dieting and why it's so like why it's awful. I'm a victim of yo-yo dieting too. Uh, because all we think is like one day we can cut our calories, and then the next day we lose we lose all control. Then the day after that we cut our calories, and you see how like, and then you ask yourself at the end of the day, at the end of the week, hey, like why am I like still gaining weight? Like there's a couple of days where I'm low in calories. No, it's because it's working almost like on a weekly thing. You're not resetting every day. You're not. There's not a little timer on your body that when you go to sleep, it goes, oh, 0 calories. It's not how it works.
Yep, our bodies are a lot more complicated than that. And to your point, you're right. For a lot of people, they'll just eat a whole crumble cookie or two, and they'll be like, "Oh, I had a protein shake with it, so it's not a big deal." So the point with that is so that you can enjoy those sugar cravings that you have while still staying on track. But if you're someone like me, like I'll only recommend this to clients who can actually handle this. But I have clients who are like me, and if they go to Crumble Cookie, they are going to eat the entire cookie and not just half or whatever. So I'll always recommend going for a different option that's actually going to fill you up. It's the same thing what we were talking about with the volume eating. A Crumble Cookie is like this big, right? But it's like 1,000 calories for this much food. Versus, let's take an extreme example. Let's say you had a bowl of Greek yogurt. You could have a bowl this big for the same amount of calories. That's all volume eating is. So if you could find a balance between that ultra processed addicting food and the ultra voluminous Greek yogurt, somewhere in between that allows you to stay within your caloric limit per day, per week, then you're going to be a lot better off.
Okay, hold up. Let's put all the health to the side though. From previous fat ass to previous fat ass, we can say that you can find better cookies that are going to be less calories. That's my hot take.
Yeah.
Is that crumble cookies good? There's nothing. I'm not saying it's not.
Overrated.
But from me being a fat ass, like I've had some better cookies that are like less calories. Insomnia cookies, like come on, Great American. Like
Yep.
I'm talking, like I'd rather have like 3 or 4 of those for almost the same calories as one whole crumble cookie. Like that's just my take.
No, I actually agree with you. I've only gotten crumble a couple times. I had it after my show just because my parents got it for me, and of course it was really good. But at
But
a
like
point,
it's full of sugar. Like of course,
yeah,
like anybody that says that it's
exactly.
not good, they're lying.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's not that it's not good. Everyone knows it's good. It's just too many people overhype it.
Yeah, dude. At a point, like you're eating it and you're halfway through it, and it's like, there's no flavor here. This is just sweet. It's like it's just hitting a dopamine sensor. It's not giving me like that flavor. You know what I mean? Like it's just sugar. But so yeah, that's our hot take of the day. Crumble cookies overrated. Um, and you could probably make your own crumble cookie at home that tastes better, have higher protein, higher fiber, and it's actually going to fill you up and cheaper.
He's right.
'Cause
I mean,
also,
like he's right because, like, I mean, for example, I mean, I would rather have like the holiday sugar cookies that Walmart sells for like $2.
yeah,
I mean,
dude,
I would rather.
those like single-handedly made me fat. That was cereal. Bro, I would make
But
yeah, go ahead.
no. Continue. Let's
I
go.
was just
I
gonna
want to
say
hear this.
I would make the most diabolical meals when I was a fat fuck back in the day, dude. Like for breakfast at 6, 7 a.m. before school, I would literally wake up and go straight to the kitchen, and like no one was awake, so this was like my time to shine. Like growing up a fat kid, maybe you can relate. When there's no one home and you're home alone, that's the most dangerous time. That's when the binges really come on because no one's there to watch you, no one's there to stop you. So I'd wake up, I'd grab a big bowl on purpose, like a bigger bowl than usual, pour half the box of Fruity Pebbles in there, whole fat milk. I'd drizzle honey on top and whipped cream, and then I'd try to add in like, dude, just like the most disgusting meals, just to like, I don't even know, just to make myself feel sick, just to get that like craving.
Yeah, I think you. This is for anybody. I feel like you understand it's kind of a problem when you can't do it in front of other people. Like he was saying, I would buy boxes of cereal, like family boxes, and eat them in one sitting with milk. But while I was doing all that, it was all like in my room by myself. Like my parents didn't know. Like my mom didn't. Like my mom and my parents did all they could, but in reality, they couldn't watch me 24/7. I mean, like I would hide food under the bed, things like that. Like, and then once you get your own money, like if you can start buying fast food, eating in your car and things like that. Like once you're like hiding your food and you're trying to like do all that, that's kind of when you have to realize like that's kind of a problem. And that kind of goes into the next topic of like moving more, kind of like moving more. And so like I think a lot of issues that people have nowadays, it's not because of like like it's always going to be because of bad eating. But I think it's just because of how stagnant our society is. Like how much, like here in Alabama where I'm at, like I'm here in downtown Gadsden, and the only part that you could walk down is this little street called Broad Street. Other than that, like you have to drive everywhere else. Like there's not a lot of walking. There's not a lot of things to do here, and so like even the malls have died down. Like there's just nothing to do, and that's where like that's what ends up becoming like that's what ends up a lot of people becoming fat because fast food, convenience, high caloric food, and then not a lot of activity. We don't even got a lot of gyms. Like Planet Fitness almost is like one of the biggest gyms around here. Uh, and so with all that, that just equals like that's just gonna equal for people to be overweight.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. So, yeah, point number two that we want to talk about here is moving more, lift some weights. And it's not just to say that, you need to go do endless cardio. What we mean by move more is do more with your life. Like, don't just sit around at home on Sunday and watch TV all day. Like, that's kind of a given, but to his point, like, for example, when I went to Turkey to visit my family, by the time, like, if you wanted to go to the grocery store, let's say, by the time you left your house, you walked 30 minutes to the grocery store, you did your shopping, you got back. All that took like 2 hours, and you're getting 10,000 steps in just by doing that. But here, you drive to the grocery store, burning 0 calories, you do your shopping, and then you drive back. 30 minutes, you're home. That gives you an extra hour and a half to 2 hours at home with food in the fridge, and your brain knows that there's instant dopamine reward in the fridge. So the ultimate point here is if you spend more of your time just doing things away from your house, like going on walks, walk your dog, visit family, join a rec league, play pickleball. I play pickleball multiple times a week just to get out of the house. Because otherwise, I would be spending that time at home either eating or not eating and thinking about food. Right? The more time you spend at home sedentary, equals the higher odds of you jumping into that fridge and eating something, even though you know you're not hungry, but you're just bored. So, boredom eating is another topic we wanted to talk about. And I actually just made a complete guide on this on how to stop yourself from boredom eating on the weekends. But essentially, there's three reasons why people binge on the weekends. There's boredom, two, going out to dinners with your friends, your family, or going to a family party. And three is going to be, shoot, what was the third one? Anyways, the more time you spend at home, bored, the more time your brain's going to want dopamine. You could get that dopamine from going on a walk, going to the gym, but a lot of us choose to stay at home and get it from sitting on the couch and eating potato chips. So do
So
you, no, I was just going to ask, do you have any tips for people who maybe spend too much time at home? Maybe they live in an area like you where there's not a lot of places to walk, and how to get over that boredom eating slash stress eating slash food noise thing that's going on.
So, like you were saying, when it comes to boredom eating and stress eating and stuff, it's all about really how much time do you have on your hands. A lot of times when I hear that, when I hear people like stress eat, bored eat, like I usually ask what they do, and the majority of the time they just work and go home. So like about my town, even though there's not a lot of things to do in town, there's a lot of things to do around town. There's a lot of communities you can join. There's run clubs. There's little like hiking or like I like hiking, so I try to go on the weekends, like on Sundays. I try to at least go hiking. So like finding little things to like set yourself almost like a schedule. Like that's why I said communities because we complain a lot about how like oh there's not a lot of things to do outside. But like there is a lot. There's smaller communities that are out there. I think there's like a butterfly watching club here. Like even though like you think that's stupid, it's like they're going outside and walking. Like they're going outside and being active. Run clubs. I mean like there's old people that walk in the mornings at like 6 in the morning. Like there's a lot of things to do. You just have to find your community, and it's easier said than done. And they're like, where do I get started? Facebook. That's the cool thing about social media. Like Facebook, you can look up probably around your town right now and look up your town, and it will probably come up some little community thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. And like one of the best quotes I've ever heard was We don't we don't diet. Wait, sorry. Let me rephrase this. We don't live our life to make our diet better. We diet and watch our eating and control our hunger and exercise and things like this to make our life better, right? So you shouldn't center your entire life on your diet, because if you're constantly thinking about what you're going to eat, constantly thinking about food, constantly thinking about the fact that you're hungry and all this stuff, you're not going to be able to actually go out and live your life and enjoy it. The whole reason that people come to a fitness coach, or the whole reason that people want to lose weight in the first place, is yes, most commonly they want to look better, maybe to attract a partner or something, but two, just so they can live a healthy life, so they can see their kids grow up, maybe live to see their grandparents or their grandkids, and be a good role model for the people around them. Um, Something we talked about last time we talked was, if you go on a fitness journey and you succeed in that fitness journey, the people around you are going to become motivated and inspired to do the same. When I lost 100 pounds, my brother was on the same trajectory as me, right? He was also getting really overweight. There was a point where he was almost obese at like 13 years old. He was on trajectory to be bigger than me, but he saw me do it, and of course I tried to help him, but you can't really force it on someone. They have to want to do it themselves. So the more I tried to like make him exercise, make him watch his food, the more he just didn't want to do it. So instead of forcing him to do those things, I just did them and invited him to come on journeys with me, like just come on a walk with me. Not to burn calories, not to focus on your diet, not to anything like that, but just come on a walk with me so we can hang out. The more of those lifestyle habits we can implement, the less time you're going to spend thinking about food and thinking about cravings.
And that's kind of like a huge thing. Like I get asked, uh, especially when I was leaner, was like, how can I get my significant other, or how can I get my brother, my sister, my son, my daughter, how can I get them to lose weight? And that's kind of like I don't like that question, because a lot of times people are wanting you to go in there and inspire them to lose weight. But in reality, the only time that like the only thing that triggered me to lose weight was myself. And one thing I do wish that I had back then was somebody to do it alongside me, like you were saying. How your brother started to, like, instead of you telling your brother, hey, do this and this, he just saw you and was like joining you and stuff. And that's how it should be. And that's how my brother is now. It's like I went through my weight loss journey. Now he's actually actively losing weight, and not because I told him to. It's just because like he got inspiration from me doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. With especially with kids and like teenagers, they're never going to do what you say. They're never going to do what you tell them to do. They're going to do what you do. They're going to mimic your habits, right? That's a lot of the things that people get wrong when trying to raise their kids. Like, they'll tell them what to do, but then they'll go and do the opposite of that. And it's like they'll tell, for example, when I was overweight, my parents would be like, "Well, control your eating. Don't eat as much. Go exercise. Go to the gym." Actually, they never told me that, but they would tell me to control my eating, and they would basically say like, "Oh, are you sure you want to get that second plate?" And that just caused like a cycle of shame and guilt. That doesn't help people. What really would have helped the most, speaking in hindsight to my parents, which I've had this conversation with them, so if they're watching this, sorry, but it's true. What actually would have helped me was, instead of telling me to not get that second plate, brought me on a walk with them, brought me to the gym with them, or they started their own fitness journey and I was inspired by that. So you have to be a good role model. You can't just, it's easy to tell someone what to do. Like, anyone could tell any overweight person, hey, you should eat less and move more. But it's really about the genuine inspiration, because we're all humans at the end of the day, right? We're kind of like monkey see, monkey do type thing, right? So if your kid sees you sit on the couch all night, but you're telling them to go exercise, what do you think they're going to do? They're just going to do what you do. They're not going to do what you say. Kids don't want to listen to you. So if you want to help out a relative or family member or a friend who genuinely, you could tell who they have a passion and they want to lose the weight, but they're maybe not sure how. Instead of telling them what to do, giving them like all this information, how to do it, go and do it with them, or invite them to go on a run with you or a walk, or invite them somewhere outside, invite them to the gym with you, invite them to cook a nice healthy meal with you, things like this. So be a good role model instead of being like a speaker, a public speaker to
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Don't tell them what to. Don't. This is kind of a quote. Don't tell your fat friend what to do. Just do it with them.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Really, that's
amazing.
how it is.
That's amazing. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that ties a lot into our third topic here a little bit, but did you want to touch on anything else when it comes to volume eating or moving more before we step on to number three?
No, I think we hit the basics, and when we could talk about lifting and stuff, but that could be a whole different thing because I mean, like when it comes to it, this is lifting isn't anything special. I mean, I kind of tell everybody this. Like you could go on Google and look up what is the easiest split, and or even ChatGPT, and they'll create you one, and it'll work. I mean, there's nothing really special about unless you're going into bodybuilding and certain things. When it comes to actual weight loss, training's not as important as a lot of people think.
100%. That's another hot take. Actually, we'll probably do a whole nother podcast on the lifting portion. So we'll keep it brief for now. But what I'm going to say is look, if you're someone who's not trying to be a bodybuilder or do anything crazy like that, all you really need is to go into the gym and lift heavy weights 2 to 3 times a week. Just hit your full body. If you want to go in there 5 or 6 times a week, fine. Just do like upper lower. Like it's not a big deal. Like he was saying, it's people overcomplicate it way too much. Just go in there, pick around some heavy weights, and then go home. And then that ties into our number three is recovery. So when you go home from the gym, what do you do? How do you recover? What is recovery? And what are some ways that you're able to make recovery a focal point instead of making diet, exercise, lifting weights, all these things a focal point?
So what I do for recovery, first off, is a lot of people complain about like not being able to go to sleep early or sleep early. So I get the struggle, but what ended up happening with me is it took me probably a week or two to be adjusted to going to sleep early. But then as soon as I started going to sleep early, there was something that went through my head of like now I wake up or naturally I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you naturally wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, there's like I'm like I go to the gym, I do cardio, I am pooped by 9 p.m. So there's just physically no way for me to stay up. And so what I do with also with that is just making sure not to drink caffeine past like 5. I don't drink caffeine past 5. Um, and then for dinner, most of the time it's kind of like it's a high protein, but then it's like, it's nothing really crazy, nothing that's going to sit hard in my stomach. So by the time I get ready to go to sleep, all I do is I'll put my phone far away from me, I'll sometimes turn on the TV, depending if because I have a cat. So if she makes noise, then I have to turn on some kind of like noise in the background. But if not, then I usually will just go to sleep like that.
Yeah, absolutely. With the sleep part, I mean, I hear it from almost all my clients. Like, it's really hard for people to fall asleep at a decent time and get their 7 to 9 hours. But like he was saying, if you're struggling with going to bed early, my recommendations are for the first few days. Let's say you go to sleep at like 12 a.m., but you want to start getting to sleep at like 9, so you could wake up a little earlier and get more stuff done. For the first few days, it might be rough for some people. It might be fine for others. But number one, the easiest thing you can do is just not have caffeine past. Carlos was saying 5. I would say even past like 12 or 1, because essentially, not to get too deep into it, caffeine has a half life of 12 hours. So once you drink the caffeine, 12 hours later, half of that caffeine's still in your system, right? Whether you feel it or not, whether you're still wired from it or not, it's still there. So we could at least eliminate most of that negativity that comes with caffeine and sleep if we just avoid doing it later in the day. Um, but for those first few nights, your body will get adjusted pretty quickly. Human beings are one of the most adaptive species, or they are the most adaptive species in the world. We could live anywhere, in any climate. We figure out how to build stuff. We could figure out how to sleep 1 or 2 hours earlier. And another point a really good point that Carlos made is kind of ties back into our number 2 point, moving more. The more stuff you do that day, the more tired you're going to get at night. Like if you wake up at 5, you do your cardio at 5, and then you go to work, let's say 7 to 3. By the time you cook your dinner, eat, go on your digestion walk at night, um, take care of your kids, this and that, you spend time with your loved ones, all this, it's already 8, 8:30, 9. And then by that time, a lot of people end up just doom scrolling for an hour or two because they're so stressed out from the day and now they could kind of chillax and wind down. But that's only hurting them in the long run, and that's not really benefiting you. Right, so I did want to talk about doom scrolling a little bit because I struggle with it a lot. I still do. Like it's a normal human thing. It's instant dopamine in our hands. But every time I catch myself like scrolling, I just think to myself, okay, I've been sitting here scrolling for 30 minutes. Do I remember even one thing, one video that I watched? Did I take away one piece of information from this 30 minutes? And if my answer is no, I immediately put my phone away and I'll either go outside and walk, or I'll do my laundry, or I'll do something productive. And then I'll tell myself, okay, I could do another 30 minutes. But guess what? I never really end up doing that other 30 minutes because I'm so invested in getting my stuff done. Like if I'm doing laundry, next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, I have to clean my room. And then you clean your room. Next thing you know, oh, you know what? Let me actually scrub the floors. And then like it's kind of a domino effect. Once you do one productive task, your brain wants to keep doing more productive tasks until you're done with everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's one of the helpful tools that help me is like I know if you're watching this and you're doom scrolling at night, I know you have laundry to get done. I know you have dishes to do. I know you have something around the house that you could do that's going to be a lot more productive than scrolling on TikTok.
And I mean, it's just as easy as just turn it off and just put it somewhere. Not even my phone's next to my bed. I put it like on my or on my TV stand.
Yep, it's one of the easiest things you can do. You just turn it off, but it's also one of the hardest things to do because it's just so addicting to watch that screen. But if you can find a system that works for you that lets you allows you to put the phone away and get stuff done, it's going to be really helpful. So sleep obviously really important. A lot of our gains made in the gym are recovered and sleep. If you don't sleep well, you're not going to be able to lift well the next day. You're going to be hungrier the next day because we release more ghrelin if we're not on much sleep because your brain's looking for more energy. And just a lot of different things are going to get impaired for your next day. Another important one, obviously, is nutrition, which we'll do a whole nother podcast on this, but just to touch on nutrition a bit, if you're someone who lifts weights, very general recommendation here, but eat most of your carbs around your workout time. So if you're eating 300 grams of carbs a day, eat like 100 to 150 of it post workout, split up. I like to have about 50 to 100 grams before my workout, if possible. Some days it's not. That's okay. Protein. Protein's super overrated in my opinion. Everyone tries to get in 1 to 1.5 to even 2 grams per pound per body weight. It's really not that important. We could get into the studies, and the studies pretty much prove that zero point 0.8 is enough. But without even looking at the studies, you don't need that much protein, guys. Um, I know everyone's obsessed with it, and I eat a lot of it because it helps fill me up.
Yeah, for
Um,
satiation purposes, that's a lot of
yes,
times why people push it.
absolutely. As far as like physiology, we don't really need more than zero point 0.8. But if you're someone who, like me, a lot of the time on my cut, I'll increase my protein, not because my body actually needs more, but because if I don't, I'm going to be hungrier throughout the day, right? So just you could look at all the studies, that's fine. What I'm saying is do what works for your body. A little more, little extra protein is not going to kill you. And you definitely don't need like 2 grams per pound of body weight, right? You don't need to be eating 3 to 400 grams of protein. It's a little redundant. But if that's what's going to help you stay in your calorie deficit, then do it. And then obviously your fats. I think healthy fats are important. We don't really need a ton of them because obviously we already have a ton on our body, but they will help with your brain function, they will help with your hormonal function, and all this. So I usually recommend somewhere between 15 to 30% of your calories should come from fats, and then zero point 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight in protein, and then I'll fill in the rest with carbs. Whether you're on a cut or a bulk, either way, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's pretty. That was a breakdown. I didn't even have that breakdown. Like I was like, you like
Yeah,
I was thinking of. Have you ever watched the movie or that show? What is it called? Is it The Doctor? No. What is that kid? Well, that guy that's a doctor that can like put everything into like the sky and think about it. Can't
I don't
think of it.
know. I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh, that's what you reminded me of. I was like, but, but we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up because we're about to hit 35 minutes.
Yeah, dude,
So,
that's all good.
to kind of conclude what we were talking about, really, to conclude all of them, it really is just about, to me, the most important thing of all of them is recovery. So, like, regardless on what happens, if you eat healthy and you move more, everything kind of falls together. Like, no matter what you kind of do, so start little by little. Instead of just being like all in, be like, okay, what can I do? How could I move more today? How can I what is it called? How can I sleep an hour earlier? How can I do this? Implement little things to change day by day instead of just going, how I'm going to change everything today. Because just from experience, trying to flip the switch that fast is not easy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to finish off by saying exactly that, and you said it best. So we gave you 3 topics here: volume eating, moving more, and recovery. Please try not to just implement all of those things, everything we said right away on day one. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get stressed out, you're going to be confused, and you're going to just quit altogether because we just threw out a lot of information out there. So just start by doing one thing. The easiest thing you could do is just go on one extra walk per day, or even every other day. If you don't go outside and walk at all, then just add in one, even twice a week for now. And then the following week, 3 times a week. And then you could start thinking about volume eating. How can I add more volume to my plate without increasing the calories too much? All right, once you kind of mastered that, then you could start thinking about your recovery in whatever order you want. But essentially, our point here is don't completely flip your life upside down for this. Add in small incremental changes and be 1% better than you were last week. And by 100 days later, you're going to be 100% better than what you were 100 days ago, right? That's the whole point. But if you go from 0 to 100 today to tomorrow, you're going to go right back down to 0 because you're going to get too overwhelmed.
Yes, sir. He dropped the bar, dang.
All right, man. Well, if you don't have anything else to add, do you have anything else to add before we?
No, I think we wrapped it up there because I don't want to give too much. Like, y'all chill. Like,
For real, man.
Man, I can't
This is
give
literally,
everything on this.
it's literally free game, bro. We're giving away the game for free. All right, well, guys, thank you for tuning in. If anyone made it this far, I know we're small. We're just starting out. We're just figuring things out. Drop a like and a comment.
I'll
Let
kiss
us
you
know.
if you stayed this far. I'll kiss you.
Okay, and I'll give you a kiss on the other cheek. So drop a comment how we can improve, what topics you guys want to see. We've done it all. We've done bodybuilding. We've done extreme fat loss. We've done muscle growing for maximal muscle growing for people who don't want to be. We've done all the topics. We pretty much cover all the bases when it comes to it. So. With that being said, thank you for tuning in to Heavy to Hungry, 2 guys who used to be fat as fuck, and now we're helping other people not be fat as fuck.
We still might be fat as fuck, but wait till we start prep, okay?
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Well, you have a good night, and to the viewer, thank you for watching.
Good night, you guys.